Les Tours du Monde in 80 jours. The book that you've just had the pleasure of seeing illustrated by Jeannie, delightful stopwatch animation videos on the library Instagram. Unlike many of Jules Verne's science-based fiction stories, it's an action-adventure story that would have greatly appealed to 19th century readers. What with improvements in railway and steamships and Thomas Cook's very first excursions around Europe at the same time as the book was being written, it must have seemed incredible that these multiple destinations, international travels were possible. The book is also a brilliant satire of what it is to be English at the time of the Victorian Empire. Phileas Fogg is your standard stiff upper lip Englishman, very unemotional, extremely precise in his habit, we would say today probably on the Asperger spectrum. His life is totally ruled by this very rigid daily routine and by punctuality then. So his associates at the London Reform Club, where he goes every day, say he will do tomorrow precisely what is done today. What would Phileas make of engineering works on the southeastern line, let alone the COVID upheaval? We can guess. Phileas is rich and leads a very comfortable life, but he's rather cold, and he sticks to this rigid routine of his and only really speaks to his Reform Club whist partners, with whom one night makes this wager that he'll be able to complete a tour of the world in 80 days or less. His rather incredulous partners decide to go for it. So he leaves that very night with his new manservant, this Frenchman called Passepartout, who, by the way, thought he would start his new employment with this rather unexciting Englishman and have a really sedentary, uneventful life. And of course, exactly the opposite happens. So they embark on this journey. As the journey progresses, Phileas discovers that the unforeseen is what rules your life, really. And the reader discovers that Phileas is actually a really generous and loyal character who will not hesitate to come to the aid of people, even though that means that he might lose the bet. There are some delightful, vivid descriptions of China, India, and the United States of America as it would have been in the 1800s. With all the sights and sounds and smells which we can all enjoy without the slightest fear of catching any viruses. Once back in London, Phileas thinks he's lost the bet, and he realizes that he has rather wasted his life, having missed out on a lot of important things for the sake of this unhealthy obsession with routine and punctuality. So he's pondering all this and sees himself as just another clock on the mantle, but at the same time he also realizes that the journey has, although he may have lost his bet, it's also gained him a different perspective, much healthier on life, made him discover the value of true friendship and gained him the love of a good woman. Massive spoiler here. He doesn't lose the bet, surprise, surprise, as he has miscalculated by a whole day and thus arrived 24 hours earlier. So after all this, he gains a different perspective on life. He's a changed man. He wins the bet. He marries the lovely girl. And they all, including Passepartout, very much lived happily ever after without even having to go into quarantine.